What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mo.J and we are locked in. Now we have a new series on Amazon Prime called The Underground Railroad. It just came out May 14th. And what is it? The Underground Railroad. Now this is the first episode, so I'm gonna have to take it a little slow and give you guys the characters, but you know I'm gonna break it down because no one breaks down the show like I break down the show. First, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel and you want to be a part of this, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. Now this show is serious based. Now there's going to be a lot of things in here that you don't want to see, and I'm not going to show them on the screen, but I will discuss them. Let me know what you guys think about the show down below. Let's jump into it. The Underground Railroad, episode 1. To start this whole episode off, we see two of our main characters, Caesar and Cora. Now they're falling down into which looks like a mine shaft. We don't know exactly what it is at this point, but we see there's a ladder to get out of here, but they're not holding on to it. They're falling straight down. While they're falling down, we get to see other clips. We see Caesar running from something in the woods. We also see there's a lady holding a baby here. The baby is crying. So it's a lot of stuff going on in this intro and this cinematic, but you got to pay attention to everything, and I'm going to try to point them all out for you. We also see them burying what looks like a rag with something wrapped up in it full of blood out in the garden. They wrapped it up and they threw it out here. You can still hear the baby crying that's just been born. The baby that was born turned out to be our main character, Cora. Now this is Cora here. She's saying the first and the last thing that her mother gave her was apologies before she got up out of here. She had to escape. Here is Caesar. So this is Caesar and Cora, our two main characters. Now Caesar, he's talking about, hey, Cora, I want you to come with me. I want to escape from here and go back up north because there's nothing for us down here and we need to get up out of here. And Cora's saying, why would we do that? Why are you trying to leave? What makes you think that we're going to be able to get away with this? And for Caesar, he's saying, I want you to come with me to be my good luck. And the reason he's saying that is because I told you her mother had already escaped. And since she never returned, he's saying since you're her daughter, you'll be the good luck for you and I to actually make it out of here. And Cora, she's saying, I'm not nobody's good luck. We know that. I'm just here. Whatever my mom did, she left. She left me here. I'm not good luck. Now, you know, when I do these shows, I'm going to keep it serious for you, but I'm also going to give, put a little bit of my style on it. And you know, there's somebody on that plantation talking about, Master, I don't know how much free time you give them folks, but it's two people over there plotting and planning about something. We need to see about them. It's always a snitch on the plantation. Now, back where all of the slaves are living, they're just having a little get together. Everyone's making the best of their time. We see this gentleman here, and he's walking around. You can tell he's well respected. He's saying what's up to everybody, saying hey to the kids. He actually gives one of the kids his hat right before he runs up off the plantation. And people see him. Other slaves see him, but they know how it is, man. Eventually, you're going to crack, and they see him run off, but they don't say anything. They just wish him the best of luck. This man, he gets low. The slaves are having a good old time. Now, Jockey, this black man is what they call him, Jockey. He's the oldest one there, so he's pretty much the overseer of all the blacks. Now, there's two brothers that own this property, Terrence and James. Now, James here is the more aggressive one. Terrence is the more laid back one. James, he's like, I hear all this music down here, and this is a lot of ruckus. This is how you guys party down here? And Jockey just saying, oh, sir, this is just what Terrence lets us do. The two brothers, they don't see eye to eye on how to handle their slaves. Now, this brother, he's like, I'm going to do what I please with my slaves. Meaning, at the end of the evening, I let them, celebrate, do whatever they need to do, unwind. Now, the other brother said, our father would be rolling over in his grave. He wants to be stern with the slaves, and the other brother doesn't. He's like, I already work them hard enough. I'm going to let them have some time to themselves. Terrence, the aggressor brother, he's saying, well, I heard all this music, and since you guys are down here, I hear you guys got a boy that can recite the Declaration of Independence. Now, Michael comes over, and he's the assistant to James. He's like his head slave that runs around and gets everybody in order. He says, Michael, go get him. And he's trying to tell him, sir, he dead. He died a couple of months ago. Terrence starts laughing and saying, you don't even run your slaves right. You got slaves dying. You don't even know about it. So James, he's kind of upset because you guys didn't tell me. Now, Michael's not going to say, I told you. You just got to agree with what the master says, because they probably told him that he died and he just, oh, well, who cares? So Michael goes and grabs a young boy out of the crowd and say, hey, you've been around him enough. You know the Declaration of Independence. But this kid's about 7, 8 years old. He gets up there. He's under pressure. We don't even know if he actually knows the Declaration of Independence. He was just around the guy that knew it. And he gets up here. He starts stuttering because he doesn't really know it. And now Terrence takes it too far. The boy gets on his knees and starts begging because he doesn't know it. He accidentally grabs Terrence's hand. He spills his wine on him. And Terrence just takes his cane and starts whooping on this young boy. I blame this on Michael for bringing this kid into this. This kid didn't know the Declaration of Independence. And even if he did, that's too much pressure to be put on at that one spot. But Michael was trying to save himself and the rest of the slaves because he thought maybe the boy knew it. And if he did, we'd all get slaved. Unfortunately, the kid got caught. You remember the gentleman that left earlier? Well, he's still high-tailing it. He's talking about he's in the wood and he's getting it. Don't know where he's going. It doesn't look like he's looking at the North Star to make sure he's going in a direct line. He's probably just in the woods running in circles. But I tell you, he's been gone since sundown and he's putting some distance in between him and the plantation. The young boy was hit by the cane. Cora seen it and she ran over there and she pushed the master out the way. She pushed Terrence out the way and covered up the boy. And unfortunately for her, she saved the boy, but it ended up both of them got lashings all throughout the night. And overnight, they had to stay there, knees on the ground, hands above their head, whipped throughout the night. And they had to sleep here. So this is the next morning where they're coming to get them down off the pole. All of the ladies, they start to tend to Cora's back because she was beaten nearly to death, her and this young child. Caesar comes in and sees this. He really can't deal with all this. So what did he do? He picks Cora up and he takes her back to his place because he wants to be able to protect her. Now, I know he couldn't do nothing when the whipping and stuff was going on. You just got to understand this is a different time. Everyone says what they would and wouldn't do. But we all know, 99% of us would have done nothing. We would have just watched it and we would have to deal with it because this is our reality. Once Caesar gets her back, he starts to read to her. And the story he's reading is about a man that gets lost on his journey, but he has to become more ruthless. And Cora's like, kind of like the white man. And he's like, pretty much, yeah. But this book is giving him the courage and the motivation to actually take it the next step and run away. Now, he wants Cora to come with him. But Cora, she's still sitting here and she's telling him, you need to put that book up. If Master knows you can read or you have any kind of formal education, then it's over with from you because they want to keep the slaves dumb to where they don't know anything. But Caesar, he's focused and he's like, Cora, I need you to come with me. I want to get us both away from this. And she's still stuck on her not being lucky because the reason Caesar is saying that she's lucky is because her mother ran away and successfully got away. But for Cora, she's saying, I'm not lucky. All I did was make my mom leave me, a child, in the middle of the night and run away. But the mom was trying to get away and eventually come back and get her. I'm pretty sure that's what she wanted to do. But she couldn't travel with a crying baby. And Cora's just saying, I'm not lucky. But she doesn't understand that you are lucky. You are lucky you're alive. Later on in the evening, Caesar's back in his place. Now he's in his log cabin with a different woman. The reason he's here is because the master, he matches up who he thinks should breed with each other. Now Caesar, he's like, look, I'm not about to be bred like cattle. I'm not about to just have sex with you and reproduce. That's not what I want to do. And this girl, she's saying, you haven't been here long, but that's what we do here. Our value is determined off of what our offspring is. If we're not reproducing, then master is going to cut off your manhood so you don't even have to deal with none of this. So she's trying to tell him, you're pure and you have a good heart, but that's not how it works down here. We have to reproduce. But Caesar, he's educated. He knows how to read and stuff, and he's from Virginia, and he's not about to do this. They take Cora over to where she was born. Now in this cabin, this was where her mom was at. This is where she was born. This is all she has. And Michael and them, they come and they're moving her to a different location, but she doesn't want to leave. So she's trying to beg them. But one of the guys, the guards, is like, hey, get her out of here. Get that nigger out of here. Let's get it moving. And she's pleading like she doesn't want to leave this area, but they have to do it. Like I said, man, we all say, oh man, we wouldn't have done. You're going to do what you have to do to survive, people. Let's just be real. Then they send in two ladies to go in there and scrub the floor. Now remember, this is a wooden floor, and he talking about make it shine. They in there scrubbing they tail off, but you ain't making no wood sign. Walking back to the plantation, Master James ends up having a heart attack and falling down on the ground, and that's the end of him. So you know it's about to be hell on this plantation when Terrence takes over everybody. Terrence comes over to the cotton field and he's telling everybody, take your hats off and bow your head. We're going to pray for my brother. He went to see the good Lord. He's up there with my mom, my dad, and all the other good slave owners that had a chance to own some slaves in this here America. But y'all know me and my brother, we split this plantation. So now I own all y'all, and there will be no more parties. Y'all hear me? No more parties. And I'll start pairing people up who's going to breed. And when I tell you to do this, this is what we're going to do. So Terrence is already the same day changing up everything. And he's telling all of the northern slaves that was his brother, hey, we're not going to be as lenient no more. We're changing up everything. And on Sundays, if there are any parties, there will be a tariff. You're going to get taxed for it, and you're going to get your tail whooped. So they can't have any fun. It's going to be sun up to sundown work, quiet when lights out. Terrence goes out in the field because Cora's still working. Now, he told everybody, hey, stand up. We're going to pray. Now, you need to be listening, but she's still working. He actually goes over and he inspects her face and he sees there's a cut above her eye. Now, Michael, he does what the slave master wants, but he's still looking out for the slaves. He's just doing everything he can to survive. So when he sees Terrence looking at Cora like this, you hear him say, is everything all right, master? Because he's trying to get Terrence away from the women slaves. He's trying to do what he can to protect, but he's also doing his job to survive. We get introduced to a new pair, Ridgway and this young boy, Homer. Now, what they do, they go slave hunting, pretty much bounty hunting. If a slave runs away, they go out there and capture him. And who's the first person that we see them capture? The young man that we seen run away in the opening scenes. Terrence sees his slaves is back and he says, you know, the sun is shining and looking down on the Randall plantation. I got my slave back. Oh yeah, we're going to have a party for this. We're going to celebrate retrieving our slaves. So that's what they do. A slave runs away. They throw a party when they capture him. This young man here looks like he's about maybe 9 years old at the most. His name is Homer. He works directly with Ridgway. Now he's an educated young man. He can read, he can write, and he takes all the notes for Ridgway. So he may be a nigger, but he's a good nigga, according to the white folks. Terrence talks to Ridgway about some house slaves. They'll be trying to get back at the slaves outside, and they'll tell like if they run away or anything. Ridgway isn't there to hear all that. We know he's a slave hunter. And what he's telling Terrence is, I'm not trying to hear all that. But what I am here to find out is there's word of an underground railroad around here. And Terrence is like, you really think there's one? And Ridgway says, I haven't seen it. But I'm not saying I don't believe that there's one, because how come all of a sudden there's a lot of slaves coming up missing, but they're never showing back up? And Terrence is like, shoot, I don't know. Pay attention, people. Ridgway just returned a slave that ran away. But he told Terrence, this one is on the house because I still owe your family something. There was a slave that ran away before your daddy passed and I never captured him. Who is this? This is Cora's mother. Now, Terrence is saying, I know exactly who you're talking about. She left a daughter here. Now, Ridgway wants to talk to the daughter because he takes his job so seriously. He still wants to capture what he was supposed to capture. Are you following me? So Terrence tells him, thank you for bringing this slave back. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and let you talk to the slave whose seed is still here. Ridgway goes and talks to Cora one-on-one. Now, when he's talking to her because he knows what's going on. He's saying you feel betrayed, meaning your mom ran away and left you here by yourself to deal with all of this. And then he feels her chest and he says, I can feel there's pain in you, and there's anger in you, but we need to get this up out of you. We need to find your mom so we can fix all of this. That's what he's trying to make her believe. But Cora, she's not really knowing what's going on. She just knows that her mom left and she knows this guy seems like he's about business. Master Terrence, he got control of the whole plantation. If he matches you up, that's who you have to breed with. Now, we know that Caesar said he wasn't going to do it, but of course we see him and the lady that he's with, they are breeding with each other because you got to do what you got to do to survive. You just gotta do it. And Terrence is here watching because he wants to see and make sure that everything is going down as according to plan. Caesar leaves and he goes to where he's staying at, where he's hiding his book at. Now, you know he can't have his book. Master can't know that he knows how to read, but he starts reading his book because this is what's getting him through all of it. Now, in this book, the section that he's reading is talking about there's no names found on many lists, meaning he's only documented on a few things. This book is going to relate to the whole movie. Everything he's reading is probably going to come to life. So it's just a foreshadowing for him. But it's saying don't put your name on every list. And some people, you got to let them know that you're dead just so you're untraceable. What I tell you, they catch a slave, they celebrating. You got the boys on the violin. They just having a good old time out here. Got wine, chilling. It's a nice afternoon in June, ain't it? While they're having a party, the man that ran away, you can hear him getting whipped in the background. I'm not going to show anything up close, but this is just so you can get an idea of what's going on. Now, Terrence is trying to explain, sometimes you have to lead the Negroes in certain directions because they don't have the mental capacity to have emotions or feelings to think things through. Now, there's some gentlemen at the table that they don't quite understand what's going on, and they're kind of disgusted by it. But Terrence is trying to make these good white folk understand this is just what we do. If you don't make an example out of them, they'll never understand. So whipping somebody while we're drinking wine is very necessary. This is what was going on, people. Now, out in the field, you just heard Terrence say you got to make an example out of it. Michael goes out in the field and he's gathering up all the slaves and saying, hey, master wants you guys to come in here and see this. We know that this young man is still getting whipped this whole time, but master wants everybody to come see this because he's making an example. Once all the slaves get there, Terrence starts to read from the Bible, saying that all slaves need to honor their master. They need to do what their master's telling them. Master's doing everything he can to provide for these slaves, and they turn their back on them. All I'm going to say is they whipped this man. He's still alive, and they ended up burning him alive. It made all the slaves watch it. And then Terrence tells them to go back to work. Cora's having flashbacks of her and her mom in the house that she was born in. So she ends up sneaking over there. And you can see Cora and her mom, they were very close. But as an adult, she had to get out of there. I mean, they're still going to treat the kids bad, but they're not going to treat them as bad as they do an adult. So the mom tried to get away first. And of course, you know, a mom's not just going to leave her daughter. So she's trying to come back. But Cora doesn't understand that yet. She just feels like her mom left. So she snuck back into the house just for the old memories. Cora goes to the same garden that was at her cabin where she was born. And you remember her mom buried something. It turned out there's seeds in there. So she digs it up. She also has a hatchet. She takes these seeds and she gets off. Hey, tonight's the night. We hid in the woods. We out of here. She gets out into the woods and Caesar's out there waiting on her. Now, he doesn't know who it is, but he hears something. But good thing it turned out to be Cora. So they get each other a hug. And now we got a foot race. We gotta go. We gotta hit these woods and we gotta go fast. Oh Lord, we have a young lady named Lovey. Now Lovey's been watching Cora. She said, I knew you was up to something. You sneaking around in the woods with Caesar. I'm coming with y'all. Caesar's like, what? There's no way they're gonna take 3 of us. I had this plan for 2 people. And she's like, well, they didn't even know 2 people were coming. You were just bringing me. So now we have a third person. We already know when you do something, you should do it by yourself. Bringing in one person is all right. But when you start bringing in 3, 4 people, oh, man. So not only do they have to keep the pace up that they were going to go at Caesar's pace, they have to make sure Lovey can keep up with them because you're not going to send her back at this time now. They're walking through the woods. It's daytime now, so they can't be as loud and you can't just be sprinting because there's going to be all kinds of white folk out here looking for 3 runaway slaves. Now, Lovey, she's in the back and Cora keeps telling her, shh, be quiet. You doing all this humming and stuff. We supposed to be quiet. We trying to be stealth and make it out of here. And then all of a sudden, Caesar's like, hey, be quiet because they hear something in the woods. Out comes some white man. Lovey back there talking about maybe we can catch some food. I can cook it. That's why we couldn't bring somebody else. We got just enough supplies for us to make it. These white folk come out. They grab on Lovey, 2 on her. Oh, man. Caesar gets into it with one of them. And Cora, she dipping out. Caesar handles his business. He gets up. He runs over to go find Cora. And Cora has a kid on her. Now, I told you she had a hatchet, and she let this boy have it. And Caesar had to stop her because she would have just went crazy on him. But we got to go. We can't go back and get Lovey, not at all. 2 people captured her. We got to keep it moving. And Cora's, we got to go get Lovey. Caesar's like, man, it's over with for her, man. That's why she shouldn't have came. We can't keep 4 people with us. We got to have us too. The plan was just for us too. Now, Cora has to understand it's about survival at this point. It's unfortunate that Lovey got caught, but we got to go. They're walking through the swamps now because you gotta get rid of your trace. And if they're gonna have hounds, they're not gonna be able to follow it through water, so they gotta walk through the swamp. But Cora sees a snake with a frog in its mouth, and it dives into the water. And for her, she's stalling. You know, Caesar wants to say, "Girl, bring your ass. Come on, we gotta go." But she sees this, and this symbolizes something. They keep on moving. They get to land, and they see a house with a red roof. And Caesar says, there it is. Now, Caesar's the only one that knows the actual plan and where they need to go. And Cora's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And they make a mad dash to this house with the red roof. In the beginning scene where I told you we seen Caesar running, this is what they were doing. They were sprinting to the house that they found because this is going to be their connection to the Underground Railroad. They make it to the house with the red roof, and our connection here is Fletcher. Now, he's talking to Caesar and saying, how's everything going? You know the girl that got caught with y'all, Lovey? Well, they knew she was missing before all of y'all. And they went after y'all the very first day because of her. They noticed her missing, then they seen y'all were missing. But also there was a young boy on the trail with some hunters that y'all may have ran into. And he's in a coma now. He'll never wake up. So now everybody in the state of Georgia is going to be looking for these 2 runaways. And it's even worse because that's a little white boy that she put in a coma with a damn hatchet. But survival. Fletcher takes him into the back room and he lifts up this wooden hatch. It looks like it got stones on top of it, and it's a ladder going down. Now, this is entering into the Underground Railroad where we seen them falling at the beginning of the episode. This is what they're actually climbing down, this ladder down into the Underground Railroad. Fletcher tells Caesar, you guys don't have to talk a lot, but you're going to have to speak a little bit. And I need to document you guys' name to put you on this manifest so we can keep track of everybody that comes on the train. Now, you remember in the book, he said, don't put your name on a lot of lists, but he has to put his name on this list in order to get on this train. So he tells him, I'm Caesar. I was born in Virginia. I was sold in Georgia when my master was dying. Cora, I met her here on the Randall Plantation. Cora, she actually goes down to the actual track. So there is an actual train on this Underground Railroad. It's not like what we think in real life. They actually have a full operating steam engine train in the tunnel. They load up in the back of the train. Caesar asks, who built all this? And Fletcher's like, who else built stuff in America? Pretty much the blacks. But he tells them, if you want to see what America's like, what this nation is like for real, just look outside when you speeding past. You're going to see how it is. It's not really what you see down here on just these plantations. They board the train and they ride off. We going to our next stop. There you go. Episode 1 of the Underground Railroad. Let me know what you're thinking about it. I actually like this. I know them gave us a realistic aspect, but it also had that paranormal activity. I think this is going to be more focused on what the Underground Railroad did and how slaves actually progressed to try to make it out of the South. Let me know what you think about that. I'm Mo.J. Thanks for watching. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.